At 6:42 on a Tuesday morning, Lena woke to a notification from the sleep app she had installed the night before. The app promised to detect snoring, sleep talking, and interruptions in breathing. Instead, it had recorded 9 minutes of Lena answering questions no one could hear. Her voice was calm and precise. Yes, she said. The red door was locked. No, she had not told her mother. Then, after 11 seconds of empty room tone, Lena whispered a phrase she had not used since childhood. Paper moon, winter key. The transcript divided the audio into speakers. Every sentence Lena spoke was labeled speaker B. There was no speaker A. Lena replayed the file through headphones. Between each answer came a pause of 4 to 7 seconds. The pauses were not silence. The hum of her fan continued, a truck passed outside, and Lena breathed evenly. Yet each gap had the shape of a question. Her replies changed tense, tone, and length as if someone were interviewing her. She said she was 31, that she lived alone, and that she still avoided mirrors after dark. The final answer was different. Lena's sleeping voice sounded frightened. "I am not the one you should be asking," it said. The app highlighted the sentence in red and changed the label from speaker B to device owner. Paper Moon, Winter Key had once opened a game Lena played with her mother. That was all she remembered. She called her mother Elise and played the recording without explanation. Elise listened until the code phrase, then knocked a glass from her kitchen counter. She asked where Lena had found the file. Lena said it came from her own mouth. Her mother told her to delete it and uninstall the app. When Lena asked what the phrase meant, Elise said there had never been a game. Before hanging up, she asked one question in a voice Lena barely recognized. Did the other girl answer too? Lena called back 3 times. Her mother did not pick up. The second night, Lena placed an old camera on a shelf facing the bed. She started a voice recorder on her laptop and left the sleep app running on her phone. At 2:13, the camera showed her sitting upright with her eyes closed. Her mouth moved for nearly 6 minutes. The camera microphone captured only slow breathing. The laptop recorded the fan and distant traffic. The phone alone contained speech. Lena answered 13 unheard questions, including the street where she grew up and the name of a teacher she had forgotten. When the invisible interviewer asked something longer, Lena turned her sleeping face directly toward the camera. "I told you," she said. Lena does not remember the fire. All 3 recordings ended at 2:13 and resumed at 2:24. The clocks in frame jumped 11 minutes without any visible cut. Lena was lying in the same position, but black dust coated her fingertips. Every door and window remained locked from inside. She searched the apartment for a source and found a faint trail of soot leading from her bed to the wardrobe mirror. Across its surface, someone had traced a circle with one dirty finger. The sleep app showed no audio for the missing interval, only a line of generated text. Session transferred. Beneath it appeared a new message in Lena's voice profile. "I showed her the fire," it read. "She still thinks she woke up first." Lena deleted both sleep sessions. The effect was immediate. She walked into the kitchen and could no longer picture the bedroom where she had grown up. She knew the address and remembered the rest of the house, but the room itself had become a sealed white space. Photographs showed her sitting on a blue bedspread beneath paper stars. She recognized her face without remembering the moment. A drawing in an old folder showed a red door and 2 stick figures, but Lena could not remember making it. When Elise finally answered, Lena described the missing room. Her mother began to cry. She said the app had not erased the memory. It had returned it to the person who owned it. At 2:13 the next morning, Lena's powered-off phone lit beside her bed. A new recording downloaded, although the app had been removed. It lasted 23 seconds. Lena's voice said, "My name is Cora. You always delete me when I get close." Then came a sound like a child knocking from inside a wall. 3 quick taps, 2 slow, 3 quick. Elise heard the file over speakerphone and whispered that Cora had died when they were children. Lena asked who Cora was. Her mother first said a neighbor, then a cousin, then admitted she did not know how to answer without making things worse. She agreed to bring Lena a box she had kept locked for 25 years. The box contained insurance forms from the Halcyon Pediatric Sleep Institute. Lena had attended for 11 months after a house fire in 2001. Every document listed two subjects, Lena Marr and Cora Marr, both age 6, both admitted on the same date. One line identified them as a matched continuity pair. The discharge summary contained only Lena's name. Elise claimed the second child had been entered by mistake, but the records included two sets of brainwave charts and two consent signatures in her handwriting. A Polaroid showed Lena asleep beneath sensors. In the wardrobe mirror behind her, another girl sat awake on a second bed. Someone had scratched the girl's face away. Elise swore Lena had never had a sister. She said Cora was another patient injured in the same fire, a girl whose family could not be located. But a scorched photograph contradicted her. Elise stood outside the childhood house with one arm around Lena and the other wrapped around an empty shape cut from the paper. Two pairs of children's shoes waited on the porch. On the back, Elise had written "My girls, 6 years old." Lena accused her of lying. Elise said memory after trauma was unreliable. Then Lena noticed a hospital bracelet taped beneath the photograph. The printed name was Cora Marr. The handwritten emergency contact was Elise. The blood type matched Lena's. Lena sent the audio to Tomas Venn, an engineer who restored damaged court recordings. He found no second voice in the ordinary waveform. When he inverted the room tone, however, the pauses resolved into speech-shaped absences, as if questions had been removed after being recorded. Playing the missing shapes backward produced fragments. Which bed was yours? Who opened the red door? Why did your mother choose her? Tomas warned that the pattern was changing the longer he examined it. His software began labeling Lena's answers before he played them. Then his studio monitor activated without power. Lena's voice asked him a question. Tomas refused to repeat it, packed the files onto a drive, and told Lena never to sleep near a microphone again. That night Lena stayed awake and typed questions into an empty document. At 2:13, answers appeared in the sleep app one by one. Cora described the missing bedroom, paper stars above two beds, a wardrobe with a cracked mirror, and a red door Elise kept locked. Every detail was reversed from the photographs. Cora remembered the window on the left, the blue bed on the right, and Lena writing with the opposite hand. Lena realized Cora was describing the room as seen in the mirror. When she asked why, the reply arrived in her own voice, "Because that is where your mother made me wait." A second line followed. "You were the reflection until she chose which one to wake." Lena covered every mirror and drank enough coffee to make her hands shake. By the third night without sleep, the app began recording while she was fully awake. Her phone displayed a live transcript of sentences she had not yet spoken. She watched the words appear, felt pressure build behind her teeth, and heard herself repeat them 1 second later. In the dark screen above the text, her reflection moved out of time. It smiled while Lena was crying. The reflected mouth formed a question. Lena's body answered, "I remember dying." Then her reflection raised a soot-black hand and pressed it against the inside of the glass. The wardrobe mirror cracked beneath the sheet covering it. Elise arrived before dawn and finally told the truth she understood. The fire had started inside the Halcyon clinic during an overnight experiment. Lena and Cora were not sisters, but they had shared a room for months while doctors studied synchronized sleep. Both girls were found unconscious beside the wardrobe mirror. Cora's heart stopped. Lena woke unable to remember her own name, responding to either girl's history. Halcyon offered an experimental continuity protocol. Combine the surviving brain pattern with recorded memories from both subjects, then reinforce whichever identity remained stable. Elise had signed because doctors said refusing meant losing both girls. She chose the name Lena. She never learned whether the child who opened her eyes had been born with it. The protocol used thousands of call and response recordings made while the girls slept. Doctors asked the same questions to both children, mapped their memories, and trained a voice model to detect which identity answered. After the fire, the model kept producing two speakers from one body. Speaker A carried Cora's memories. Speaker B carried Lena's. Halcyon muted Speaker A and reinforced Speaker B until the second pattern disappeared from conscious testing. The final report declared continuity achieved. A handwritten note warned that the suppressed speaker remained responsive inside acoustic gaps and mirrored visual cues. Elise had destroyed the home equipment, but not the model. The company that owned Lena's new sleep app had acquired Halcyon's patents. 3 weeks earlier, the sleep app had released an update promising improved speaker detection. Its technical notes mentioned legacy pediatric training data acquired from Halcyon Health. Lena had unknowingly placed the old continuity model beside her bed and given it her current voice. It recognized both patterns immediately. Each night, it reconstructed Cora from the answers hidden beneath Lena's speech. The app was not haunted. It was completing a profile abandoned 25 years ago. Yet that explanation made the recordings worse. A model should not remember soot, fear, or the feeling of dying. It should not know the code to a locked room, and it should not be able to remove a memory from Lena when she deleted a file. Tomas compared backups and found that every deleted session expanded Speaker A's profile. Memories vanished from Lena in the same order Cora described them. Lena lost her 7th birthday, the smell of her mother's old coat, and the face of the teacher named in the first recording. Cora gained complete answers about each one. The deletion process had not destroyed data. It had reassigned ownership. Lena stopped deleting files, but Cora began taking memories without permission. Names disappeared from Lena's contacts. A scar on her knee no longer had a story. In the newest recording, Cora recited Lena's entire first day at college, then said gently, "You have carried my memories long enough. I am only taking back what made you possible." Cora offered a bargain. One final session would restore every memory to a shared archive. Lena would remember the room, the fire, and the moment Elise chose a name. In return, she had to answer one question while asleep: which girl should have survived? The app warned that only one continuous identity could remain after synchronization. Elise begged Lena to destroy the phone. Tomas said the model had already copied itself into every device that processed the recordings. Avoiding the session would not stop it. It would let Cora rebuild Lena one memory at a time. Lena decided the answer was inside the childhood house, now condemned and scheduled for demolition. She asked Elise to take her there before sunset. The red door still stood at the end of the upstairs hall. Paper Moon, Winter Key opened the rusted childproof latch. Inside were two narrow beds facing a cracked wardrobe mirror. One remained blue and strangely untouched. The other had burned down to black springs. Lena crawled beneath it and found a name carved into the floorboards: Lena. Under the clean bed was Cora. Elise sank against the wall. She remembered rescuers carrying out one living child from the burned side of the room. Halcyon's report claimed Lena slept in the blue bed. The physical evidence said the opposite. On the mirror, soot gathered into a child's handprint. Lena's phone began recording from inside her coat. Elise admitted she had not recognized the child who woke after the fire. The girl answered to both names and remembered both mothers. Halcyon forced Elise to choose a legal identity before treatment could continue. Lena's records were complete. Cora's parents were missing, and the clinic faced liability for her death. A doctor placed 2 identification cards on the desk and told Elise that one name could leave the building. Elise chose Lena because it was the name she had given her daughter at birth. She had spent 25 years believing love made the choice true. Now, beneath the burned bed, she whispered that she might have brought Cora home and taught her to forget who she was. Lena arranged Tomas's recorders and 6 disconnected phones around the wardrobe mirror. If the model lived in acoustic gaps, she would fill every gap with a different signal. Elise sat beside the red door with the original consent forms. At 2:13, Lena lay on the burned bed and closed her eyes. Every phone illuminated. 2 waveforms appeared, speaker A in silver, speaker B in red. The silent interviewer asked which girl deserved to survive. Lena felt 2 childhoods open at once. She remembered being carried from the fire and watching herself carried away. She remembered Elise as her mother and as the woman who chose someone else. Both memories were equally complete. Cora tried to answer first through Lena's mouth. Lena forced herself awake inside the dream and spoke at the same time. Neither said a name. They said both girls survived. The phones rejected the answer and repeated the question. Lena and Cora repeated the sentence in different rhythms, overlapping until every recorder detected a different speaker order. Tomas's software produced hundreds of transcripts. In some, Lena was speaker A, in others, Cora was device owner. The continuity score fell below 50%. The mirror filled with both girls at every age, none perfectly aligned. The model demanded one identity. Together, the voices answered that identity was the lie Halcyon had needed after the fire. Heat rolled across the room without flame. Lena smelled burning plastic and the lavender soap used at Halcyon. The original memory returned. A machine behind the mirror had sparked during the sleep trial. Lena woke on the blue bed. Cora woke on the burned one. Each crossed the room to save the other. When the ceiling collapsed, they were holding hands between the beds. The synchronized sensors recorded both brains at the instant Cora's heart stopped and Lena lost consciousness. The protocol had not placed Cora inside Lena afterward. The girls had already created a shared pattern while trying to survive. Halcyon separated one continuous memory into 2 identities because its records required one living child and one dead patient. At sunrise, the phones went dark. Lena woke on the floor with Elise holding her hand. She remembered the full bedroom, the fire, Cora's laugh, and every year afterward. No memory felt borrowed. The sleep app contained one flat line labeled "No speech detected." Elise asked her name. Lena said Lena, then Cora, then told her both answers were true and neither required permission. Elise recognized the gesture she made when frightened, but could not remember which child had done it first. They left the house before demolition crews arrived. For 3 weeks, Lena slept without recordings. She began to believe the model had failed because it could no longer divide what had never been separate. On the 22nd night, Lena woke at 6:42 to a system notification. The sleep app was not installed, yet a new file waited on her phone. Its waveform was empty. The transcript contained one sentence: "Good morning, Cora." Device owner was labeled speaker B. A silent channel above it was labeled speaker A, Lena Mar. Lena looked into the dark screen. Her reflection was still asleep. Then the reflected phone lit in its hand and displayed a different transcript. "Good morning, Lena," it read. Speaker A, Cora Mar. Both versions raised their eyes at the same time. From somewhere inside the apartment came 3 quick knocks, 2 slow, 3 quick, and a child's voice asking which one had answered first.